Good afternoon everybody, Jono here, and in today's video the family and I are at the buried village of Te Wairoa, which was a settlement that got covered by ash from a volcanic eruption from Mt Tarawera in 1886. So sit back and relax and let us take you through this truly magical place and see what we can see. Here is the main entrance and lobby and the start of the track, which is really awesome, and also is a heritage museum filled with artefacts from the digs that were done throughout the decades at the site. But as you saw straight ahead, there's an awesome cafe which sells home-baked goods at a really good price. And also, if you have a membership, if you're local, it's like $20 per person for a year, and you can go as many times as you like in that time. Also, with the membership, you get 10% off baked goods, you know, the coffees, hot chocolates, whatever's being made on the day will be 10% off if you hold the yearly pass. Right now, we're actually entering the exhibition of the artifacts that were found on the dig sites of Te Wairoa, and the items that are here are treasures for Māori as well as the early settlers of Te Wairoa. Here we have a hand-carved waka made out of wood, and in the Rotomahana hotel, that's a VR presentation, virtual reality, which is awesome, really insightful, and really worth paying a little bit extra to get that VR headset experience. And yeah, all I can say, highly worth it to do that on top of the rest of the tour. I don't know if it's included with the guided tour. I would imagine it would be, but me personally, I haven't been on a guided tour. I would love to do so because it'd be really insightful and really in depth, which I love because I love history. Here is a model of the Pink and White Terraces that used to be a major tourist attraction for the area, and people used to come all around the world to soak in the natural hot springs. And with the Smith family over here, it's giving information about the owners of the property, who lived on the property for a good 100 and something years, and who were in charge of excavating the site as well as bringing in teams to help with the dig. Over in this part, you have buildings which are from the era but were moved to site, which is really interesting. You can see the setup of what the buildings would look like, the rooms and everything else, really insightful. Coming up on the left is a sign which is the entrance into the historical site for Te Wairoa, and on the sign, the lady here is a true hero. Her name was Sophia Hinirangi and later became Sophia Gray, as her husband was Scottish and holds the same name as my family. So during the eruption, she managed to save over 60 people in her whare, which is Te Reo for house for Māori. I was really impressed by the story, and she is a true hero. Rose and I now are heading towards the remains of the storehouse / workshop, and it's awesome, beautiful. Get to see all the tools and what they used to do and how they used to do it back in the days. The village of Te Wairoa was established in the early 1850s by missionary Seymour Mills Spencer. Te Wairoa grew into a really popular and bustling stopover for people visiting the Pink White Terraces on Lake Rotomahana. When the village was here and fully active, it hosted hotels, stores, a church, a school, and a marae, which is the meeting house for Māori. Here to the right we have the remnants of a whare, which is a traditional Māori house that was reconstructed in part as well as the original pieces. Along the track there's snippets of articles from the time and also handwritten letters, which there's handwritten letters from a lady called Margaret, and she was a tourist at the Pink and White Terraces at the time, and as a very insightful information about the time and what was going on and how she felt and how she was doing when the eruption and before and after the eruption occurred. Over here we have an actual whare which you can go into, and in this whare you can see and sort of imagine what the early Māori would have lived like and the space that they would have had in the early whares. Each whare had a little stone area for cooking, and then also a rear entrance as well for escape, just in case any war would be happening or any disputes between tribes. They have like a little escape entrance to go out of, and here's one of the escape entrances which leads around and back onto the main track, but really awesome to go and weave your way through. I was sort of low-key worried as well because I'm not exactly the skinniest person, and because I had a backpack on as well, I thought maybe Xiaomu was going to get a bit stuck in this passage, which would have been a little bit embarrassing. Call out, love, I'm stuck. But we made it out without incident, so that's definitely a positive. But yeah, definitely beautiful around here. One of my top 10 places to visit. Definitely in the local area, top 5 for Rotorua area. It's awesome. Here we go, Rose looking like a Top Gun with baby. It's really accessible around here too, so if our pushchair can get there, you should have no worries. Bring in pushchairs or possibly wheelchairs. As usual, there are a few parts of the track that are a bit narrow, but you can get through. Use a little bit of that Harry Potter magic. Should be happy days. No worries. Living the dream. Here we're following the track that's snaking along the Te Wairoa settlement and the remains of what used to be Te Wairoa. This used to be all under ash, big layers of ash, and has been reclaimed now by nature, and the native forests and bush are regenerating. To the left we have one of the excavation sites where they were digging out, and you get to see the interesting artefacts and the layout of structure that was there. And I just want to say I love this walk. This walk is so good. Obviously the history behind it I love, but then also connecting with nature as well is just truly awesome. Over here is remnants of John Faluna's store, which was one of the general stores of Te Wairoa that got destroyed during the eruption in 1886. So that's the foundations of the store and some artifacts and stories as well as we head out towards the hotel. Here we're coming up to the legendary Hotel Rotomahana and the foundations that stand from the hotel. At this part, this is the foundation of the chimney which was in the hotel, and as you see in the picture there, that's what the hotel used to look like on the top left hand side. Really awesome, really extravagant for the time. And this is the cellar of the hotel, which still has intact wine cases with wine bottles, which I thought was pretty awesome, as this was all covered in ash from the eruption, so it was untouched until the excavations of 1990. Now we're heading back to Her Royal Highness Rose and Princess Francesca, as they were waiting a little bit and looking up by that face. She was like, "Come on, Johnny boy, get your ass into gear." So this is what the hotel looked like, and the owner at the time. We're coming up to another awesome and well-preserved whare, which is cut out of the clay into the earth and made as a solid shelter for the early Māori that were in the area. It's truly beautiful and crafted out of panga tree stems, which are for the walls, the roof. Everything you can see is made out of panga, which is sturdy, flexible, and keeps the heat in. This whare was built on specifications of the original whare that was in the location where this whare is now residing, as it was completely demolished from the ash flow and the pyroclastic flow that happened during the eruption of Mt Tarawera. Here's Rose over here struggling with the roots. I should have been a good boy and help, but if I do that, might ruin the flow. But this is the part of the track that gets a little bit more narrow, as I stated earlier in the video, which, if you have a wheelchair or something, might be a little bit hit or miss. With the push chair, it's doable, but for baby, I don't know. Maybe she enjoys a little bit of bouncy, like she's got hydraulics installed into the push chair, but it's happy days. We got there in the end. Snaking along to the right hand side of us is the Te Wairoa stream, which flows on to Te Wairoa Falls. Here is a traditional Māori storehouse where they store food, which is elevated so no rodents or animals get to the food. Coming up on the left hand side is one of the letters from Margaret, one of the tourists of the area during the time of the eruption, and to read her letters to her family back in England and everything else, it just really brings it back home to how real it was. Obviously it happened in real life, but just putting yourself in their shoes through their eyes. This cannon is an English cannon that came off one of the warships, but magically got brought here. It was found underneath the Te Wairoa Waterfall at the base, which blew my mind, because once you see the waterfall, the structure was there to get down. So it must have been a mission to try, and one of the Smith family found the cannon as they were doing the adventures around their property and decided to bring the cannon up. Going back to the eruption happened on the 10th of June 1886, and on that day 120 to 153 people lost their lives. The buried village of Te Wairoa is located 14 kilometers southwest from Rotorua near Lake Tarawera on Tarawera Road. The opening hours of the establishment is Wednesday to Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The tickets for locals are $25 and for internationals $30, teens $10, lucky for some, and for kids are free, and annual passes are available. Just look at that pure, clean water, beautiful. I wouldn't go for a swim too far up though, because there is a big waterfall. Here we have a historical waka, which is a canoe used by the indigenous Māori people of New Zealand to do fishing and transportation on the lake. You go, girl. Keep up the good work. I'm definitely proud of you, Rose. Doing an awesome job. You know, it's hard being the cameraman. At this part of the track is like a break area. To the left is which has seating, I believe, for when school trips are here. And if you look at this picture here with Mr. Smith, if you go to the right hand side, follow that track down, that leads to the waterfall, follow it straight, leads back to the main entrance and the cafe. Here's one of the beautiful old wagons, the carts that used to cart the stocks and people and everything else back in the 1900s. And this is the track that's leading down to the majestic, the powerful, the beautiful waterfall of Te Wairoa. And the waterfall itself is 30 meters high and goes through the valley towards Lake Tarawera. Yeah, you have to have some sort of level of fitness as well, because believe me, I felt it. I'm not quite the fittest, but then I'm not the unfittest either. But yeah, it was definitely a good going over, especially when you're following up, going all the way up. Just over here, there's a perfect spot to get your Instagram photos in front of the waterfall. Just don't go too close because you'll get completely soaked like I did. But yeah, no, it's still beautiful, good refreshing water. And this is at the base coming down from the plunged waterfall. Now, after the epic hike up the hill, I reconnected with Rose and Baby, and we're starting to walk up towards the exit and have the DJI Neo following us from behind, getting some awesome footage. And if you look out to the right, it's a view of Lake Tarawera, Mt Tarawera, the whole valley, and to the left is towards Te Wairoa. The old village over here is a little bit more rugged as well for the pushchair. And to my subscribers, if you've ever wondered what bush hat I'm always wearing, it's a jackaroo bush hat called Summer Breeze. Awesome hat, keeps the sun off your face, and also due to the air holes and everything else, the mesh that's on the top of the hat, it fully lets the air come through and cools you down during summertime. At this viewpoint, this is the view of the valley heading towards Mt Tarawera and the Tarawera Lake. And also I got permission from the owners to fly the drone. Obviously I keep the drone low level in a concealed operation as to not go and disrupt any aircraft that would be flying in the area. Here we're walking to the exit, but before that I took the drone up to do a full aerial of the area, and here's the footage I took. So I hope you enjoy it, and it's always good to see a good aerial view of the location. Here is the majestic Te Wairoa Falls from the air, and you can have a good grasp of the scale of Te Wairoa village, how it used to be, and the location as well, the beauty before the eruption. So I just want to say a big thank you for watching and getting this far. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a subscribe. That would help the channel grow and get to more people. Have an awesome day, and I'll stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.